Hello, this is Jeff Morgan. You are listening to an authorized audio version of the Galactic Federation. If this kind of material is interesting to you and you'd like to continue, you're welcome to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also find my other books on Amazon Kindle. Thank you for listening.
The Galactic Federation. Galactic Initiation, Awakening, Technology, and Humanity's Cosmic Future. By Jeff Morgan. Foreword. Invitation, not instruction. This book is not presented as a rigid doctrine, nor does it demand unquestioning belief from those who choose to explore its pages. It does not position itself as the final word on the mysteries of human existence or the nature of reality. Instead, it offers something far more valuable to the discerning reader, a map. Not a map in the traditional, linear sense, but a conceptual map, an invitation to navigate the layered and often elusive terrain of hidden realities, ancient patterns, and persistent questions that have occupied human thought for millennia. Throughout history, individuals and civilizations alike have gazed beyond the boundaries of the known world, wondering what lies hidden beyond the veil of ordinary perception. Myths, spiritual traditions, philosophical inquiries, and in more recent times, modern experiences and anomalous phenomena have all pointed toward the possibility that reality is far more complex and interconnected than our conventional narratives suggest. This book joins that long-standing human inquiry. It is not an isolated proclamation of secret knowledge, but part of an ongoing exploration, one that has unfolded quietly across cultures and generations, often at the margins of accepted thought. What follows is not a set of rigid conclusions or prescriptive beliefs, but a carefully constructed framework woven from the threads of myth, esoteric wisdom, speculative cosmology, and lived human experience. The intention is not to impose a worldview, but to offer a lens through which to examine familiar assumptions, hidden patterns, and the enduring question of whether humanity's story extends far beyond what we have been taught to accept as reality. This is, above all, an invitation, an opportunity to engage with possibility, to reflect with discernment, and to step, if only momentarily, beyond the edges of ordinary understanding. Acknowledgement of reader uncertainty. It is entirely understandable that the ideas presented in this book may feel unfamiliar, speculative, or even unsettling to many readers. The concepts explored here do not neatly align with the boundaries of conventional knowledge or the accepted frameworks that shape modern understanding. Discussions of hidden influences, veiled realities, and the possibility of an ancient, galactic architecture operating quietly beyond human awareness naturally challenge the narratives we have been conditioned to accept. For some, these ideas may spark a quiet curiosity, while for others they may provoke discomfort, skepticism, or outright rejection. All of these responses are not only valid but expected. Skepticism is not an obstacle to exploring this material. It is an essential tool. In a world saturated with misinformation, half-truths, and distorted belief systems, the ability to think critically and question with discernment is indispensable. This book does not seek to override that skepticism or diminish the importance of critical thinking. Instead, it invites readers to engage with these ideas cautiously but openly, to explore the possibility that hidden layers of reality may exist while holding space for doubt, reflection, and rigorous examination. Discomfort, too, is a natural and even healthy response when venturing beyond the familiar boundaries of thought. The human mind has been shaped, through education, culture, and social conditioning, to operate within certain accepted parameters. To step outside those boundaries, even momentarily, is to encounter uncertainty. Yet it is precisely within that space of uncertainty that genuine exploration becomes possible. The ideas in this book are not offered to replace your existing beliefs or to dictate a singular truth. They are presented to provoke thought, expand perception, and encourage a deeper inquiry into the hidden complexities that may shape human existence. Whether you choose to accept, question, or dismiss these ideas, the act of engaging with them at all is a meaningful step into the unknown. The purpose of this work. The purpose of this book is not to deliver absolute answers or present a neatly packaged explanation of the universe. Instead, it serves as a synthesis, drawing together threads from ancient myths, esoteric teachings, modern experiences, and speculative cosmology to offer a conceptual structure for exploring the hidden patterns that may shape human existence. Across cultures and generations, humanity has carried stories and teachings that hint at realities beyond the visible world. These range from the rich symbolism of ancient creation myths to the veiled knowledge preserved within mystery schools and esoteric traditions. In more recent times, modern experiences such as contact encounters, unexplained phenomena, and advances in theoretical science have added new dimensions to this ongoing exploration, further suggesting that what we perceive as reality may be only a fraction of the whole. This book weaves these diverse sources together into a coherent framework, not as rigid doctrine, but as a lens through which to examine the recurring structures, themes, and possibilities that emerge across human history. It proposes that hidden influences may be operating beneath the surface of everyday life, and that these influences have been hinted at in mythology, spiritual teachings, and the quiet testimonies of those who claim to have glimpsed beyond the veil of forgetting. More importantly, this work is designed to provoke curiosity, self-inquiry, and discernment. It does not offer definitive conclusions, nor does it demand allegiance to any particular belief system. Instead, it encourages readers to look deeper, to question, and to explore the possibility that reality is more layered and complex than commonly acknowledged. The journey this book invites is not one of passive acceptance, but of active exploration, where each reader brings their own critical thinking, intuition, and experience to the process. In doing so, the hidden patterns and possibilities suggested within these pages become not an imposed truth, but a living, evolving inquiry into the nature of existence itself. The enduring patterns across time. Throughout human history, certain patterns and motifs have surfaced again and again, echoing across cultures, continents, and generations. These recurring themes suggest that beneath the surface of human experience lies a deeper, more complex story that has yet to be fully understood. One of the most persistent of these motifs is the notion of forgotten origins. Across countless myths and spiritual traditions, there are stories that hint at a time when humanity was more deeply connected to its true nature and to the greater cosmos. These tales often speak of a fall from knowledge, an exile from unity, or the imposition of a veil that conceals not only the history of our species, but the very essence of who and what we are. Whether described as the biblical expulsion from Eden, the Gnostic fall into the material world, or the modern concept of the veil of forgetting, these stories all point to a similar idea, that humanity's origins and inherent potential have been obscured. Closely linked to these forgotten origins is the enduring suggestion that hidden forces, operating beyond the boundaries of ordinary perception, have quietly shaped the course of human development. Throughout history, cultures have spoken of unseen influences, cosmic intelligences, or shadowy architectures of control that manipulate events from behind the scenes. These may appear as celestial councils, secretive conspiracies, or energetic structures that limit awareness and suppress human potential. Regardless of the language or symbols used, the underlying message remains consistent. The world presented to our senses may not be the whole of reality, and unseen systems may be at work guiding, restricting, or influencing the human experience. Perhaps the most universal of these patterns is the ongoing struggle between control and liberation. This theme, found in ancient myths, religious teachings, philosophical discourses, and modern accounts, speaks to an archetypal tension at the heart of human existence. It is the battle between forces that seek to suppress knowledge, limit freedom, and maintain hierarchical power structures, and those that strive for awakening, autonomy, and expanded understanding. This struggle is not confined to physical conflicts or political systems, but extends into the realms of consciousness, spirituality, and perception itself. The stories may change across time and culture, but the essential dynamic remains. The human journey is marked by the push and pull between limitation and the pursuit of liberation. These enduring motifs appear not only in the distant past, but also in modern contact accounts, unexplained phenomena, and emerging narratives that suggest humanity is once again being invited to remember, to awaken, and to engage with the possibility that hidden layers of reality continue to influence our world. This book explores these recurring patterns, weaving them together into a structure that invites reflection on what they may reveal about the deeper forces shaping the human story. The question of interpretation. The patterns and themes explored in this book are not confined to a single mode of understanding. They operate on multiple levels, each offering its own layer of meaning, significance, and possibility. On one level, these stories of forgotten origins, veiled knowledge, hidden cosmic influences, and the struggle between control and liberation function as powerful archetypes. They speak to deep psychological truths embedded within the human psyche, recurring across cultures because they reflect fundamental aspects of the human condition. As metaphors, these stories provide a symbolic language through which we grapple with our fears, our longings, and our search for meaning beyond the limitations of ordinary life. They offer insight into the challenges of awakening, the seduction of ignorance, and the timeless desire to reclaim lost knowledge and autonomy. At the same time, it is essential to consider that these patterns may not exist solely within the realm of metaphor or psychological symbolism. There is a genuine possibility that they also point to literal, hidden structures and cosmic realities that remain beyond the reach of conventional perception. The consistency with which these themes appear across history, spirituality, and modern anomalous experiences suggests that they may reflect not only internal human struggles, but also external, unseen influences operating within and beyond our world. The notion of a veil of forgetting, for example, may be both a symbolic expression of psychological amnesia and a literal energetic construct that obscures humanity's awareness of its true origins and place in the cosmos. Likewise, the stories of hidden control structures and benevolent galactic allies may function both as collective archetypes and as subtle glimpses into an unseen layer of reality. Given the complexity and layered nature of these ideas, the role of the reader's discernment becomes paramount. This book does not dictate how its contents must be interpreted. Instead, it encourages each reader to engage with the material critically and intuitively, considering the possibility that reality is far more intricate and multi-layered than it may first appear. The meanings, truths, or speculations offered here are not intended as rigid conclusions, but as invitations to personal inquiry. How one chooses to interpret these patterns, whether as metaphor, psychological insight, or literal cosmic dynamics, is a deeply personal journey. It is through that process of discernment, reflection, and exploration that the material comes to life, offering not answers, but pathways into the vast and often hidden dimensions of human experience. Humanity at a threshold. Humanity now stands at a pivotal moment in its evolutionary journey, a threshold that has been quietly forming beneath the surface of history for generations. This is not merely a time of political upheaval, technological advancement, or social transformation, though those elements are certainly present. It is a deeper turning point, one that speaks to the awakening of human consciousness and the gradual dissolving of the barriers that have long limited humanity's perception of itself and its place within the cosmos. For ages, the veil of forgetting has obscured the memory of human origins, suppressed innate capacities, and confined awareness within a narrow band of material existence. Yet, there are growing signs that this veil is thinning. What was once deeply buried is beginning to rise to the surface, revealing hidden truths that quietly challenge the foundations of conventional reality. This thinning is not occurring in a single event or dramatic revelation. It is unfolding in subtle ways, through recurring synchronicities, shifts in collective awareness, the resurgence of ancient spiritual practices, and the increasing openness to ideas that were once ridiculed or dismissed. These changes suggest that the structures which have long maintained humanity's isolation, whether energetic, cultural, or perceptual, are beginning to falter. The emergence of forgotten knowledge, the questioning of long-held assumptions, and the rise in experiences that defy traditional explanation all point to a collective stirring, a gentle but persistent invitation to remember what has been concealed. At the same time, the rapid advancement of technology is propelling humanity toward an unavoidable reckoning with its old belief systems and outdated paradigms. For the first time in known history, tools now exist that hold the potential to end the age of scarcity. Automation, artificial intelligence, energy breakthroughs, and other emerging technologies are reshaping the foundations of human civilization. The limitations that once defined economics, social structures, and even survival itself are being dismantled by innovation at a pace that challenges comprehension. This technological transformation is not simply material in nature. It forces a reevaluation of what it means to be human, to participate in society, and to perceive reality itself. When scarcity dissolves, the old structures of competition, fear, and control lose their grip, and humanity is faced with the daunting yet exhilarating task of forging a new track of thought, consciousness, and social organization. It is important to understand that this process is not being forced upon humanity by external beings or distant cosmic forces. It is the inevitable consequence of both inner awakening and outer technological evolution converging. There is no imposed timeline or directive demanding compliance. Rather, humanity is being offered a choice, a quiet invitation to step into greater awareness of its potential and its relationship to the broader galactic landscape. This is not a rescue narrative or a command to believe in specific structures or beings, but a call to engage with the possibility that life extends far beyond what we can presently see. The door is opening, but it is humanity's decision whether to step through. This threshold is an opportunity to reclaim sovereignty, expand perception, and participate more consciously in the unfolding of a larger, interconnected reality. The invitation is present, but the response remains entirely in the hands of each individual and the collective as a whole. The Galactic Federation's role. The Galactic Federation, as presented in this book, is not a distant council of saviors poised to intervene and rescue humanity from its struggles. They are not portrayed as omnipotent beings who will descend from the sky to fix what is broken or impose order upon a chaotic world. Such distorted rescue narratives, popularized by entertainment media and sensationalized accounts, often reduce the complexity of human evolution to a simplistic fantasy where external forces solve humanity's problems while individuals remain passive observers. These narratives may provide temporary comfort or excitement, but they ultimately disempower by suggesting that humanity's fate lies entirely in the hands of others. The role of the Galactic Federation, as explored in these pages, is far more nuanced and grounded in a deep respect for human free will and sovereignty. They are not here to dictate, control, or impose their vision upon the planet. Instead, they are quiet allies, operating with patience and restraint, offering guidance, knowledge, and subtle support to those ready to engage with the broader galactic context. Their approach reflects an understanding that true awakening cannot be forced upon individuals or civilizations. It must arise through conscious choice, self-inquiry, and the gradual process of remembering what has long been hidden. The Federation's presence is felt not through grand displays or dramatic interventions, but through the quiet influence of synchronicities, subtle awakenings, and the encouragement of those who are ready to look beyond the veil. Their role is not to control or dominate, but to support the reclamation of human potential and sovereignty. They recognize that humanity is at a critical threshold where external intervention would only delay or distort the growth that must come from within. By honoring free will, they create the conditions for a more authentic awakening, one that arises through personal choice rather than dependency on unseen powers. In this light, the Galactic Federation is not a replacement for human responsibility, nor are they a guarantee of salvation. They are participants in a larger galactic process, allies who stand alongside those who are prepared to engage with the deeper realities shaping existence. Their quiet presence reminds us that while we are not alone in this vast cosmos, the path forward must still be chosen by humanity itself. An invitation to explore. The ideas presented in this book are not intended to be accepted passively or without question. Instead, they are offered as an invitation, an opening into a broader landscape of thought and possibility that each reader is encouraged to approach with both curiosity and caution. It is entirely natural to meet these concepts with skepticism, to question their validity, and to weigh them carefully against personal experience and critical reasoning. In fact, that process of questioning is essential. The exploration of hidden realities, veiled knowledge, and potential cosmic influences is not a matter of blind belief, but of thoughtful inquiry. It requires the reader to engage with the material actively, to discern what resonates, to challenge what does not, and to remain grounded even when contemplating extraordinary possibilities. It is important to recognize that this journey is deeply personal and continually evolving. No two individuals will interpret these ideas in exactly the same way, nor should they. Our unique experiences, beliefs, and inner landscapes shape how we encounter information that sits outside conventional narratives. Some may feel a quiet recognition in these pages, a sense that forgotten truths are being gently stirred back into awareness. Others may feel resistance or uncertainty, unsure of how to integrate these concepts into their worldview. Both responses are valid and welcome, for the process of exploration is not meant to be rushed or imposed, but allowed to unfold at its own pace. This book is not the final word on these matters. It is not a conclusion to be accepted, but a starting point for deeper inquiry. It provides a framework, a map of possibilities, drawn from ancient traditions, modern experiences, and speculative thought. Yet it leaves space for the reader to walk their own path, to question, to investigate, and to discover what lies beyond the familiar edges of understanding. The invitation is simply to look beyond the surface, to entertain the possibility that reality is more intricate, layered, and extraordinary than we have been conditioned to believe. Where that exploration leads is entirely up to you. Reflection. Beneath the familiar routines and structures of ordinary life, there may exist hidden layers of reality that quietly influence human experience. These layers do not always reveal themselves easily or dramatically. They often operate subtly, woven into the patterns of history, the depths of human consciousness, and the quiet moments of personal insight that suggest there is more to existence than meets the eye. Though these hidden influences may remain elusive to the senses, their presence can be felt in the recurring patterns of control and liberation, in the persistent stories of forgotten origins, and in the subtle synchronicities that hint at a greater, interconnected design at work behind the scenes. Yet, even if these unseen layers shape the world around us, awakening to their presence is not something that can be handed down, delivered, or imposed by external forces. True awakening is not an event that happens to us. It is a choice, one that must be made consciously and often repeatedly. It is a process of peeling back the layers of assumption, conditioning, and inherited belief, and allowing ourselves to see beyond the comfortable boundaries of the known. It requires courage, discernment, and a willingness to engage with uncertainty. No one can force this process upon another. It must arise from within, through the quiet decision to question, to look deeper, and to reclaim the knowledge and awareness that may have been hidden from view. The invitation offered by this book is not one of rigid belief or passive acceptance. It is an invitation to explore, to question, and perhaps to remember. To remember that beyond the visible world lies a vast and intricate reality that is both ancient and evolving. To remember that the patterns of myth, spiritual insight, and modern experience all point towards something greater than what we have been taught to see. Most of all, to remember that we are not passive participants in this unfolding mystery, but active agents, capable of choosing to awaken, to inquire, and to step consciously into a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place within the cosmos.
This concludes this section of the Galactic Federation. The next section will be available here on my channel. If you'd like to support this work, please like the video and subscribe for future releases. Also, my other books are available on Amazon Kindle. Thank you for listening.